let's get into the top 5 games of the NBA season. Before I sound off on number 5, I want to have 3 honorable mentions. Those 3 that are just outside of the top 5. It is the Cleveland Cavaliers at your New York Knicks on Christmas Day. Projected top 2 teams in the East on the biggest stage. Feels like the first real test for the number 1 seed in the NBA season. Can't wait to watch that. Second honorable mention is the Spurs at the Mavericks. The reason that is an honorable mention is Cooper Flag, his first matchup with Victor Wembanyama. It's a battle for Texas as well. It's going to be a great early season matchup. Third and final one, was probably last out of these honorable mentions, Mavericks at Knicks. Flag's first time in MSG. Excited to see how it performs on that stage. At number 5 is the Dallas Mavericks at the Golden State Warriors. Clay's return is always going to be big. Cooper Flag getting a Christmas spot to me is dope as well. He could steal the show here if they win in the Bay. Excited for that one. At number 4 is a game you mentioned earlier in this podcast. Rockets at the Lakers, Christmas Day. KD versus LeBron never gets old. I'm always going to want to watch that. I'm interested to see 2 months into the season, what are these 2 teams' records at this point? Does Houston's depth embarrass LA on Christmas Day? Is Luka still in that perfect shape that he is in? 2 months into the season, I'm interested to watch those couple things. At number 3 is a game I mentioned earlier in this podcast, Warriors at Lakers. Steph versus LeBron's always going to get ratings. Interested to see if either of their teams look like contenders earlier in the season. Also, on a much smaller level, I want to see who the Warriors starting center is. Is it going to be Quentin Post if they don't sign Al Horford? Is Jonathan Kuminga going to be in uniform at that game? How active is DeAndre Ayton looking his debut with the Lakers? Does Marcus Smart show up in better shape than he did with Memphis? We shall see on opening night. At number 2 is Luka's return to Dallas. Last time he played there, he dropped 45 points. I want to see if it's 50 this time. Does Nico still stand out there in that blue suit? Does Nico speak to the media before? Are the Fire Nico chants still raining down despite them now having Cooper Flag? We shall see. At number 1 is opening night. It doesn't involve the Lakers, doesn't involve the Warriors, doesn't involve your New York Knicks. This is Rockets at Thunder. KD has to sit there and watch banner and ring night for the team that drafted him. I was making a TikTok about him yesterday, and whenever I was doing the research, I saw his little argument online on Twitter with an OKC fan, and he had told Thunder fans, about time y'all won a championship. It's been 10 years, LMAO. That adds fuel to this fire. Not to mention it's the first NBC game in a quarter century of the NBA. Michael Jordan might be doing TV that night. There's so many reasons I want to watch Rockets at Thunder. Do you disagree or agree with that list?
I disagree with it, but I think those are some great matchups. The only reason I disagree with it is because when looking at NBA scheduling, every team plays every team. So it's essentially just picking out what the best matchups are. I think Minnesota and Denver is a matchup that is always elite. It's always great basketball. Even though Minnesota has gotten the better of that matchup as of recently, just dating back to the playoffs, there's a real sense of animosity and rivalry that exists there. I think the Knicks and the Cavaliers should have been in the top 5. In fact, for all of the big time slate of games, like on Christmas, the only teams that play in the East are the Knicks and the Cavaliers, I believe, because they understand that that is the marquee matchup in the Eastern Conference. No other Eastern Conference matchup matters, at least right now. We know that teams like Orlando and Atlanta, they're going to sneak up in the mix, potentially a team like Detroit. But for the most part, it's the Knicks and it's the Cavs. That's going to be everybody's pick to make it out the East this year. It's one of those 2 teams. So I think they needed to be in the top 5. And then I think after that, the list is pretty good. I would just have Minnesota and Denver and then New York and Cleveland locked in the top 5.
I can't disagree with that. I understand the Cavs and Knicks argument. As far as Minnesota and Denver, I think every time those 2 teams play, there is fireworks. I'm just looking at, I like the theater of it as well. I think Anthony Edwards and what he does against Nikola Jokic is always must-watch TV, so I'm not going to sit here and argue with that.